Hi, it's Liz. And so I am back for another video, obviously. I am I am doing a little bit better, but I am not doing very well in general in life. Basically because I'm having some very uncomfortable, challenging, stressful hormonal issues that might be caused by some sort of cyst or growth, hopefully not cancerous, or who knows what, I don't know. But it's been a problem that's just been escalating for the past few months. Um, and along with that, I have some personal issues in my personal life that have been really stressful for me. So I'm starting to have sort of like a low grade mixed episode, basically. Like I'm still taking my meds. I'm sure it'd be a lot worse if I wasn't, but it's not good. I'm not. It's not good. So I've been kind of having some scary moments of like paranoia and mania, and also just a lot of depression. And that's what a mixed episode is sort of like a weird mishmash of depression and manic symptoms that come together in rapid succession. So I need to practice better self-care to the extent that I'm really like capable of it. And to that end, I wanted to share with you some of my self-care tips for hypomania specifically, and I can kind of read through and see what I need to work on, how I need to follow my own advice better. So let's start. The first thing is meds. You may not have them, you may not want to have them, but if you do have them and they're good for you, just please remember to take them. It seems like obvious, but when you're in the middle of a situation, sometimes stuff isn't obvious. So, put a timer on your phone and find a way to make sure that you take them when you're supposed to every day. So yeah. The next thing is eat food. Again, might seem obvious, but when you're starting to get a little hypomanic, you don't feel as hungry, and you feel really energetic. So you might not think you really need to. The thing is that you do, actually, and if you eat nice, like heavy food, that's sort of nutrient dense but also calorie dense. So I don't know, maybe that's kind of cancels out the density. You want stuff that's like heavy and nutritious. You want stuff that's high protein, high fat, and or high fat that also packs, a good nutritional punch. So meat is a really good option, especially nice kind of heavy meat. It'll ground you and it'll help keep all this crazy manic energy from totally taking over. And it can, in my experience, it can really bed down what, like something that could become a full blown manic episode, and it can just bed it right down and take you back down to a more manageable place. So go have a steak. Or, whatever, stuff that fits that bill, stuff that's really satisfying and is going to stick to your ribs, and not stuff that's just super carby, because it can kind of excite you, so the energy is kind of burning. You don't want to be carbo loading right now. So, it's too sort of exciting to your body and your brain. Your brain is actually part of your body. Okay. Vitamins. Vitamins are not going to make you not manic, but they can definitely help you to do better. Specifically, B complex vitamins can they. I've been told that they help your brain to deal with stress. So that's important, because if you're getting hypomanic, your brain is getting really stressed out. And that's what ultimately will make things go badly for you. Um, Omega 3s also are good for sort of like, I don't know if it's neuroplasticity. This is not my area of expertise, but I've been told, that omega 3 can kind of help you to not continually go down the same sort of brain pathways, which is part of the problem with mania. It's like the more times that you experience mania, the more sort of set as a pattern that is in your brain. So if you want to be able to do something different, omega 3s can help. And I take prenatal vitamins, even though I'm not pregnant. This was a tip given to me by a doctor. And I actually haven't been doing it regularly because my stomach's been kind of bothered, but that's something I should be doing. Also, eating. I have not been eating well because of my whatever physical health problem. I just have a really, really low appetite and kind of nauseous and stuff. But I need to force myself to eat more, and I just got a protein shake mix that's not too bad, so I need to keep on that, as I find myself starting to get kind of shaky, and it messes with me. Okay. Exercise. Find something that is calming for you. So maybe not I don't know, doing paintball or something. I don't know. Don't do something that's super jacks up your adrenaline. But something that's maybe repetitive and or slow, but something that's gonna get you some aerobic exercise that will because it'll calm you down, basically, and it helps you sleep, which brings me to the next thing. Sleep. You gotta sleep. This is very important. This was my number one thing when I was not on regular medication. But I was also terrified of becoming too manic because this had happened to me before, and I really didn't want it to happen again. So if I found myself starting to get manic, I just really prioritized sleep, and I make sure I didn't stay up super late more than one night in a row. So I might pull an all-nighter one night because I was crazy and young, but I'd make sure the next night I got a good night of sleep. And if that required, sleep aids, melatonin, Ambien, whatever, I would just make sure that I had stuff that could knock me out around to the extent that was possible. Just kind of as insurance in case I couldn't sleep, because staying up more than one night in a row, at least for me, was very quickly a trigger for mania. And if I could just avoid it getting to that point, because if you don't sleep enough, your brain doesn't have a chance to recover and process stuff, and that's when you start getting into the real wacky delusions, and when you start getting really unstable. So sleep, food, and sleep, honestly, are the most important things on this list. But there are some more things. What else? I have been okay at sleeping. Had a few bad nights, but avoid stress. Easier said than done. I guess just don't go out of your way to take on more than is absolutely necessary. And the problem with that, of course, is you probably want to, if you're starting to feel manic, depending on what kind of form that's taking. I guess it might take the form of you being really anxious and feeling paralyzed, but a lot of time, mania can feel like you want to take on the world and you have all these great ideas, and you kind of got to force yourself to step it back a little bit. And the things that you do spend your time doing, as much as possible, try to make them things that are calming and grounding, things that are simple, things that are repetitive, things that make you feel calm when you're doing them, not things that are extremely exciting or put you in a sort of ecstatic place, or that are, super different from things like not new things, not super new things, because all of that is just like it's a lot more work for your brain. And it feels in that place like you can take it on, but you really shouldn't, because it'll make things spiral out of control. um Similarly, avoiding media that makes you feel sort of heightened, whether it's because it's causes you anxiety or fear, or re-traumatizes you in some way, or stuff that's just overstimulating. Try to keep things calm and maybe take a break from media. I have been walking a middle road on this. I've been watching Dexter again for like the third time or something. Not because it's the greatest show in the world, but because I've seen it before, so it's sort of calm in a way. I mean, even though it's about serial killers, I don't find it to be a very emotionally triggering show. So, you know, whatever. It'd probably be better if I was just not getting so much screen time, which is the next thing. Screen time. Try to manage that, because it is sort of exciting for your brain. Sensory overstimulation helps also to trigger and increase mania. So if you can just generally reduce the amount of time that you're exposed to like a lot of bright lights, or screens, or just anything else that's going to be potentially a source of overstimulation for you, that's great. So I've been not doing very good at that, but I do have one of those programs on my computer that decreases the blue light as it gets later in the day, so it just gets kind of red orange, like a sunset. And so at night it's not that full on bright blue light. That makes a big difference for me, and it helps me sleep, which is tied into all of this. Try to spend your time with stable people in a calm environment. Again, this is not always possible depending on your situation, but if you have a way to find that, like a place, ideally you have your own space that is private, that is a calm, relaxing, safe environment, and the people that are nearby are safe and stable people that respect your boundaries. That's going to help a lot. So when it comes to drugs, I am not interested in giving anyone lectures about the drugs that they do, but avoid stimulants and psychedelics is my 2 cents there. Those are the things that can really trigger and exacerbate mania. Yeah, but even for me, I guess I'm very sensitive, but for me, even coffee, I mean, if I'm truly, getting very hypomanic, then even tea, like caffeinated tea, can get there for me. So mostly I've just been drinking tea, personally right now. I'm not finding that I need the full, because like if you're starting to get a little manic, you probably don't need the full coffee buzz anyway. And it might feel good, but it can make it that much harder to sleep. It can make your thoughts race that much faster. Every little bit that you can take to counteract and balance what's going on with your mind can help to keep it from going to a bad place. So and the psychedelics, I mean, that can, it's very exciting mentally to be on psychedelics, and it can keep you from sleeping. depending on the time of day that you do them. And it can trigger delusions and paranoia pretty easily. So, yeah, this is a time, if you're a drug user, to focus on downers. Although, side note, in my experience, opiates really don't work well to counterbalance mania. Benzodiazepines are a little less pointless, but really you need a mood stabilizer. That's the only thing that's going to do much good for more than maybe an hour or so. So, if you have, like, one thing that I used to use was I'd have kind of a stash of Seroquel, which is an antipsychotic and a sleep aid. So it's kind of perfect. Um, it doesn't work. I know for some people it just is too much. It's really powerful stuff, and you have to get the dosing right for you. But if you have had it prescribed before, and it's useful to maybe ask your prescriber if you can get a couple a month or something, or if even that, just as an insurance policy in case you can't sleep or you're starting to get manic, because it can really help. It can stop a manic episode in its tracks without you having to take some of the more unpleasant antipsychotics. What else? Oh, meditation and prayer. So, I guess that's kind of obvious in terms of racing thoughts. I guess is mostly specifically what meditation can help with, and mindfulness, I guess, to be aware of your thoughts and to sort of sit in sort of a calm, quiet place in your own mind and watching your thoughts go by, rather than engaging with them. That can be a really great kind of meditative exercise for when you have racing thoughts. And prayer can be really helpful too. I'd got my first night of decent sleep this week after I said a prayer for asking for sleep. So it's powerful stuff. Yeah. And I guess my last thing is to focus on sameness. What do I mean by that? I mean, try to keep your life and your environment, if possible, sort of the same. Like, this is not a good time to make big changes unless you're in a really chaotic or unsafe place and you have to. But this is a time to maybe, just not deviate too much from, keep a routine. And it's not a good time for new people, new places, not a good time to travel. It can be really destabilizing. Now, those are my things. Those are the things that have helped me. And I wish I would have remembered to say this at the beginning, but a lot of people who are bipolar 2 don't have the same kind of fears that I have when it comes to their mania. Like, their hypomania is usually brief, and it's not, it's fairly safe. Like, they're not likely to fly off into some horrible psychotic place. But for me, managing mania has been a survival tool. And it's made a big difference for me in just my ability to function from about the ages of 21 to 25. Which was a short but significant period of my life. And I'm really glad I was able to be independent for that time. And even though I didn't have health insurance, I didn't have good providers for medication. You know, it's not that I didn't want to get treatment, it's that I didn't see how I could get treatment. And so yeah, these tips kept me afloat for that period of time. And I hope that they help someone else. Okay.